Welcome to Distribution Talk with Jason Bader, the show where we dive into the stories, struggles, and solutions from business owners and thought leaders in the wholesale distribution market. Hey, podcast listeners, Jason here. In this episode, I had the opportunity to catch up with my recent international travel companion, Dirk Beveridge, founder of Unleash Wholesale Distribution. Dirk is a business management consultant, author, speaker, and overall energetic guy focused on all things innovation. He knows how to get his audience thinking about what's next and inspiring them to remain open to the possibilities. I always enjoy speaking with Dirk, and I hope you enjoy our conversation. All right. Well, hey, Dirk, thank you for coming on Distribution Talk. Always a pleasure to see you through the screen here.
Yeah, Jason, thanks for having me. I absolutely love your work, what you guys do, and I appreciate you having me on here.
Hey, it's a pleasure, man. It was great, you and I hanging out down in Brazil recently. We had a really interesting and unique experience speaking down there. Little translation and headphones and all kinds of fun stuff. So.
It was different. It was good, but all right, let's pat ourselves on the back. We both nailed it.
Yeah, we did. We did just great, you know? And you know what? If we didn't, we wouldn't know if they could criticize her or not.
That's true. They were shaking their heads, yes.
Yeah. So I think we did okay. Yeah, maybe we did. So in Distribution Talk, you know, I love to kind of go back into the history of how you got involved in distribution and where it all came together for you. So could you share that with the audience?
Yeah. We're a second generation business. My father actually started the business 50 years ago. I joined in 1985. We were a sales and coaching, sales management consulting business primarily. Dad in the mid 80s was one of the best motivational speakers of all time. And I joined the business to drive the consulting business and the like. And we ended up in distribution by default, quite frankly, where we had the opportunity to work with some great organizations. Two of them that stand out to me right now are Morgan Distribution, which was an Anderson Windows distributor. They were the first distributor that Anderson Windows bought, you know, as they were consolidating their distribution and the like. And Vic Springer was the VP of sales for that organization, sales marketing, just an amazing leader. And we had a great opportunity to work with him over the years to build that sales organization. And then the second is Berlin Packaging. I've been working with Andrew Berlin and Berlin Packaging for the last 25 years and just have learned a ton from him. So it was really from those two anchor clients of ours that really moved us into the distribution field to learn about it and eventually be able to help distributors drive growth and profitability and innovate for the future.
Nice. And you've done some research for NAW, haven't you, as well?
We have. Can I tell you a quick story how that evolved?
Absolutely.
Yeah, because I did it absolutely wrong. Okay.
All right.
Absolutely wrong. Yeah. So, Jason, I found myself in 2007 out in Providence, Rhode Island, the Business Innovation Factory. For 2 days, I'm hearing 30 speakers come across his stage doing the TED type talks, 18 minutes at a time. And the only thing these individuals had in common was the word innovation. That's it. After 2 days, I'm thinking about that, 18 minutes at a time. And I'm sitting in that theater, Jason, and I'm thinking about the typical conversation that I'm having with distributors and the conversation that I'm hearing coming across the stage. I got to tell you something. There were two different conversations. And in that theater, I wrote a note to myself, and the note was, innovation is bypassing distribution. So to the research, how I did it wrong. That epiphany led me to create our UnleashWD Innovation Summit with no understanding of what innovation is.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Just because we're focused. And so we created this amazing conference that we do each year. But because of that summit, I think 2 years later is when we had developed the ideas, the credibility, quite frankly, the thought leadership, where the NAW was kind enough to ask us to do some research. At that time, the first and only research on the state of innovation throughout distribution. That's where we wrote the book for them called Innovate, How Successful Distributors Lead Change in Disruptive Times. So if I would have done it right, I would have done the research and the book first and then the summit.
It's funny you should say that. You know, I remember back, there was a gentleman Adam Fine. Did you ever
Sure.
meet Adam?
Yeah,
Okay,
I did.
sure. I remember one thing he said, it's not research if you already know the answers. That's always stuck with me. So I think, yes, maybe you should have turned that a little bit of around.
Can I share something with you?
Please.
And I've never shared this. Okay. Boy, we're going to be transparent and all that. So I've written 2 books for the NAW. My first one is Driving Distributor Sales Beyond. Really good book, really good information. But I got to tell you something. I went in there, quote unquote, knowing the answers as the expert.
Yeah.
And Jason, I absolutely hated the process of writing that book. I hated it. For Innovate, How Successful Distributors Lead Changes, I went in as a beginner.
Great. Yeah,
And I got to tell you something, I loved every single moment of that. And it's the best book I've ever written as a result of going in there with that beginner's mindset.
Absolutely. No, I think that's great. I mean, it's a great lesson to learn too.
Yeah.
You know, it's just
Thanks for reminding me.
Yeah, it's funny. I remember hearing him say that and I thought, okay, so anytime I do research, I can't know the answer.
Yes.
Or else it's just not interesting.
Right.
You know, I'm patting myself on the back. That's all I'm trying to do here. I mean, It's an ego-driven endeavor where if it's pure research, I don't know. And I get to be that explorer again. And I get to be in awe and really shape my thinking.
Yeah. And isn't that, I'll use the word alive. Isn't that when we're most alive?
I agree.
It's when we're growing, when we're expanding ourselves. That is when I'm alive. We're both, consultants in the industry, and we both have the opportunity to work with different types of things. The jobs, the projects, the clients I like best is the ones who allow me to go in there saying, you know what, we have some ideas. We don't have all the ideas.
Right.
And I want to learn along with you. Some of what we do is great facilitation, is able to bring that thinking out of the organizations to discover the wisdom that the organizations need.
And that's a great point. Often, and you've probably been asked this before, have you ever done this exact thing for this company?
Right.
And I look at them, I'm like, God, I hope not.
Yeah.
I really don't, or else we're cheating it.
Yeah.
And I tell people that every one of these situations is so unique, and please let it be unique for me. I'm not going to give you the canned answers because it's just not going to be what you really want from me.
Yeah.
Let me, as you said, learn while we're working together. Let me learn, let me observe. You throw some nuances and I'm like, okay, I'm going to help you frame some thinking, but I'm not coming in with a canned formula. That's just not who I am.
Yeah, agreed 100%. 100%. So I was just talking to the human resources VP for Kirby Smith, equipment distributor down in Texas. And I have the opportunity to keynote their national sales meeting in January. And it was so cool because they were open enough. In the last week of August, I flew down to Dallas on Sunday and spent time out in the field Monday through Friday in Dallas, Fort Worth, Odessa, and Midland, Texas.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
And up in Oklahoma City. And I loved it. Getting in the truck with the guys, learning, watching, observing. I love it because you get to learn new things. And then combine that with our worldview, because I do have a worldview. You have a worldview. But that's where the genius, I think, comes from, is combining those worldviews.
One of the things that kind of turns me off when I see some of our colleagues out there that have the one set plan, and whether it's operationally or inventory or sales, or this is the way you have to do it, and I don't believe in that. 1,000 ways to skin this cat.
Right.
It's what takes advantage of the culture of that organization, and what can they do going forward. And that's just always been. I've always enjoyed that side of it.
Yeah, and it's nice to have a place to start from.
Sure.
So, to your point, and if you don't mind, the work you do on the operational side and the financial side and all that, every time you're talking, my eyes go blank.
I know. I know.
Because what you do is brilliant. I'm just not that operator, if you don't mind. I'm not that financial guy. It's not me. But to your point, in the book Innovate, we discovered the model of the innovative distributor. Mm-hmm. And we believe that if a distributor is going to remain sustainable, relevant, profitable in this age of disruption, they got to focus on 5 things: vision, culture, value proposition, business model, and leadership. There's no one way to craft a vision. There's no one way to build your culture. There's no one way to redefine your value proposition. But my God, if you think you're stuck in a world of sameness, like most distributors are,
right,
I'm your guy to get people in a room to rethink what it means to break that sameness trap and to rethink the value proposition going forward.
The world of sameness. This is something I've heard you say over and over again. Could you just explain, what does that mean for people? What does that mean for the audience? What is the world stuck in the world of sameness?
Yeah. So wait, have you heard me say it before?
I have heard you say it before, my friend, once or twice.
All right. Yeah, because I believe it's so true. So what I mean by that, Jason, is if we're really honest with each other, and if we were to ask the average distributor out there, why do their customers buy from them? What is the differentiating value? There's the key word. What's the differentiating value that they provide their customers over somebody else? Over the plethora of options your customers have today, most distributors, beyond the surface answers, are relationships that we've had with them for the last decade, right? Okay. The service we provide. It's at that, can I even use the word superficial level?
Yeah.
So we can't define that. Now, even more frightening, if I were to ask my employees, why should these customers buy from me over the other options out there? My employees cannot define the differentiating values, the different outcomes that we drive for our customers. How we, more than others, improve our customers' profitability. How we, more than others, improve the productivity of our customers. How we, more than others, reduce the costs. It comes down to our product and our service and our relationships. All three of those things have become commoditized.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. And I think, something you just touched on was understanding how to make that customer more profitable and make them money. I think that's something that's really lost on a lot of the people that work in these distributorships, is that it's really about that customer's profitability. It's not, if you can divorce yourself from your own,
you bet,
and really focus on their profitability, a lot of the activities you're doing towards that goal, that actually becomes service. That is how you become a servant. I guess we can call them a servant style distributor.
You bet.
If I could coin that.
No, coin it, man. You better quit, because after we're done, I'm going to go on GoDaddy, man. I'm going to get it. I'm going to trademark it. All right?
I figured you would. I figured you would.
No, I think you're absolutely right. And I think it's one model. If we want to look at it from a sales perspective, right? As a distributor organization, we're a sales organization. If I were to go and ask your salespeople, what is their priority? If I were to ask them, you're going to go make a call on Monday. You're going to walk into that account. What is your purpose? I'll tell you, 99% of distribution salespeople are going to tell me their purpose is to make a sale.
Right.
I think they're wrong. The purpose of the world's top producing sales organizations is to identify and then satisfy our customers' needs profitably. What is the process we have in place organizationally, not just the sales team, to identify and then satisfy those customers' needs? And every one of your customers, the most basic fundamental need they have is to improve the profitability of their organization. And there's only three ways to do it: improve sales, reduce costs, and improve productivity. I'm going to build my value proposition around helping them do that.
And it's interesting. Often when we're thinking of value proposition, we really go to those tangible pieces like I deliver product, I finance sale, I package this, or I kit, or I do what are these things.
So guess what? You just defined being stuck in the world of sameness.
Yeah, that's it. Right there, man.
Because everybody has the same damn list.
Yes.
Jason, I know your readers can't see it, but on a sheet of paper in front of me, I just drew a little circle. And that little circle is what we know. We know our product. We know our warranty. We know our service capabilities. We know all those things you listed. That's what we know. So when we get in front of the customer, guess what we do?
Talk about what we know.
We talk about what we know.
Yeah.
Our marketing activities. Go look at your website. Guess what we talk about on those things? About what we know. Now, what I think we all should do in distribution is draw a great big, huge, outside of the piece of paper, a larger circle than that little one. And what that indicates is the things we don't know about our customers. Okay. And so if we take a beginner's mindset, this is where we need creativity and a desire to innovate. If we take a beginner's mindset and we think about that larger circle of what we don't know, there's the opportunity to create new value in the market and for our customers. And tie it to profitability. You know what? I might not know how to help that industrial account improve productivity on the shop floor. But I want to, so I'm going to invest a day, not cold calling elsewhere. I'm going to invest a day working on the floor with the operators in that account to understand how they do work, what the challenges are, what the obstacles, what their quote unquote needs are. You do that, man. Now you're going to find a way to add new value in the organization.
So how do we develop that beginner's mindset? Because I'm thinking that many of us have been in the game a long time in these roles. And yes, we kind of start, relying on that, what we know. How do we develop that? How do we go back to that childlike state, if you will, the beginner's thought process? I mean, do we go and grab a millennial and say, hey, I need your help. I don't understand.
Yeah, it's a great question. So you know what that means when I say that? I'm thinking of an answer.
Yeah, I know you are. I know.
Yeah. No, but it's a great question. How do we develop it? I think distributors right now, and I think you'd agree, are at a unique moment in time in this age of disruption that we talk about. And the decisions they make in the next 12, 24, 36 months, whatever that time frame is going to direct the sustainability and relevance and profitability of their business into the future. And I believe within that decision point, it comes down to the mindset and the ambition of leadership. So let me just take, for example, one of the challenges within a lot of family-owned distributors that I see, and I'm sure you do too, is this clash between generations.
Absolutely.
There is one generation who's getting ready to, quote unquote, retire in the next 3 to 5 years, and the next generation behind them. The one generation doesn't want to screw things up. The one generation is not as motivated to invest for the long term than the generation behind them. So their ambition says, I don't need a beginner's mindset. All I need to do is to continue this great machine. And it is. It's a great machine. All I need to do is continue the momentum we've got from this great machine, and things are going to be okay. Does that make sense?
It does. It does. And actually, something I was reading, and I think you and I have talked to different people about this, but having those different types of leaders as they're kind of ending that, kind of going into the end of their career, but you've got the lifestyle, late adopters, early adopters, et cetera. And then the truly progressives. And I think sadly, in a lot of these associations, I recall one association exec telling me that at least 75% of their membership is in that either lifestyle or late adopter stage. So it's a very small subset that actually is going to be willing to take on that beginner's mindset.
Yeah. Jason, I'm more hopeful than that.
Good.
Look, I do agree, right? That maybe there's up to 70% who are lifestyle or late adopters. Now,
right.
I will push back on a word that you said, and the word you said is sadly, they're there. Okay. Something I learned from this process, because I used to use the word sadly as well. What I've learned through this is, you know what? As long as it's conscious, if you are a lifestyle business and it's a conscious choice, that's how you want to run your business, and that's your ambition, quite frankly, and that 3 years from now you might turn off the lights or whatever.
Yeah.
If that's a conscious choice, that's okay. But if your conscious choice is to be able to, let's say, transition to the next generation and to set that business up for success for the next generation and the next generation after that, well, that's when we do need that different mindset. That's where that ambition, different level of ambition comes into play.
Okay. No, I hear you there. I mean, I think, the mindset I was coming from is really if there's that second generation coming in and there's this roadblock in front of them, and I think that's the toughest. And frankly, as a second generationer, we can become frustrated. We're very frustrated. It's like, whoa, we want to go, we want to run.
Can I give you a real simple model that I heard on that? And I wish I could say it was mine. I'm like
none of this stuff is ours.
Right.
Let's face it. Come on now,
Jason. This came from a lot. What I've learned from Don McNeely, the CEO of Chicago Tube and Iron. Just a brilliant individual. His model is this. He calls the 4 L's. He says, number 1, we need to learn. Number 2, then we move into the lead stage. Then we move to thinking about our legacy. And his 4th is leave. He says, to your point, you have to know when it's time to leave. Because even if you have something left in you to give to the organization, these younger individuals who also have ideas, who also are invested in the business, that's when they get frustrated. That's when they might even decide to leave themselves, right? So as a leader, it's really important to know when and how you're going to leave that organization.
Yeah, yeah. In fact, I was just thinking of a family business I know in the tool business, and they're in their fifth generation right now, and
Cool.
the fourth and that's a rare thing, you know.
Yeah,
That's
I love it.
really,
Yeah.
it is, and I've really liked this family quite a bit, you know. And I remember that the fourth generation, he's the one who put the things in place and said it is a mandatory retirement at 65, that I check out and you two better be ready. You know, it's time to go. You know, some of the multi-generational businesses out there, if I remember right, it's the Beretta family, is the handgun family, 9 generations or something, or something crazy like this. But they have rules. I mean, they have very specific rules when it's time to leave.
Cool.
And there's instruction.
I didn't know that. That's cool. Yeah.
Man, I geek out on that stuff. I'm just fascinated by all that.
This is where, through these think tanks that I've done, right? I've had the good fortune to lead 22 different think tanks over the last 36 months with these presidents, owners, CEOs of distribution firms, just, pulling from them and helping them discover the obstacles and challenges and strategies going forward. And one of the things that bubbled to the top that is not talked about, let me see if you agree with this. We talk about this age of disruption. We talk about technology. We talk about human capital. We talk about the changing customers. We talk about all these things. I think the number one disruptive force that distribution is going to be facing in the next 3 to 7 years is this tsunami of presidents, owners, CEOs who are going to be transitioning the business to the next generation in the next 3 to 10 years. Is there anything more disruptive to a business, potentially more disruptive to a business, than somebody who has been leading that business for the last 30 to 40 years?
Right.
Who has all the relationships with the suppliers and the key customers for the last 30 to 40 years, that at some point in the near future, they're going to be passing that baton. Is there anything else potentially more disruptive than that? I don't think there is.
Absolutely not. No, I think you've hit it right there. And, I think one of the most challenging things there is they don't leave a good instruction manual. They just don't.
Well said. And they don't. And there is no instruction manual. And same thing with business models. Why don't distributors rethink their business models? Because there's not a good model. And by the way, quite frankly, in our career, we haven't been called to. The business model we've had has been working just fine. Thank you.
That's right. That's right.
But we need to rethink it. And the same thing is true with that transition. And that's why we have started and launched our new service called My Life's Work.
Absolutely.
And My Life's Work is, I believe, the world's only program that is focused on distributors who are preparing their business for that successful transition to the next generation. And what we've discovered is that 62% of distributors in this phase who are going to be transitioning next 3 to 10 years, 62% are not confident that they have a plan for long-term sustainability for their business going forward. That's disruptive. That's the type of thing that I just love to address. And we've got the good fortune of being able to work with a number of distributors.
And one of the pieces of that, you and I have talked about the program a little bit. And I think one of the things I really like about it, it's a 3-year program.
Yeah.
It's not just it's a wham, bam, thank you, ma'am. It's not one of those. It is I'm going to be with you for 3 years.
Yeah.
We're going to roll through this thing, and there's going to be a couple left turns here and there. We're going to have to get around. And I think it's going to be a neat program.
Yeah, it's going to be a great program. And what it's going to be is, the term mastermind. That was the thought. And so we're going to get in 2020, 12 individuals who are going to commit to coming together 4 times a year to address this issue. And we've developed a success path over those 3 years. And the success path has 4 component parts. That if the business is going to be prepared for that transition, we have to focus on purpose. We have to focus on aligning around a strategic plan. Yeah. We have to focus on growth of capabilities personally and the company. And we have to focus on making long-term decisions and investments. And we've developed a curriculum around that where 4 times a year, we're going to get around the table. And Jason, quite frankly, go back to that beginner's mindset. We've got some ideas. We're going to drive a lot of great conversation. But a lot of that value is going to come from the brilliant leaders that we're going to have come around that table, and we're going to share and we're going to work together.
Absolutely. I think that's part of what you and I get to do. I mean, that's really the fortune of what you and I get to do. We may facilitate these things and we may kind of put together the framework, but then at that point, we become the student at that. We become the observer as well. And we get to learn and populate and share and
then find those brilliant ideas from within distribution and beyond. And then that becomes our next model. And it's all based on practicality and the like. I just got back 48 hours ago doing a site visit for where we're going to be meeting for this My Life's Work. And I got to tell you something.
Is it the cool place we talked about?
It is the cool place, and it's going to be inspiring.
All right.
It's unlike anything else. And so because I do think environment is critical.
I agree. And that's, if it works out, that's a beautiful environment, my friend. So that'll be a very, very good one. So, one other thing about it, though, I mean, if you don't mind talking about it, one of the outcomes of after 3 years, they get something really cool out of the deal.
Yeah. I had this idea before My Life's Work. And so I'm so glad I now have a platform that we can do this. And, I just believe that after 40 years of running the business, you've learned some things. And I believe you've learned some things that should be passed on to the next generation. You have also developed some values that have served you well, that I believe you want to at least give the next generation opportunity to consider those values as they go forward. I also believe that after 40 years of every waking hour of your life thinking about this business, truly it is your life's work. I believe that deep down inside, you have a vision and a hope for what this business becomes and how it will become even better after that transition when the next generation takes it over. What we have built into this is after 3 years, every one of the members of My Life's Work is going to have their My Life's Work book published. And they're going to be working with our team, our designers, and our authors. And honestly, just a little bit of the book is about the history of it. Everything is going to be forward-facing about what this business can and should become. And here are some things I hope that you take from me.
Honestly, what a cool gift to hand on to that next generation. And again, generation, when we talk about that, it's not necessarily your family. It could be, just the next people who are taking the ball and running with it. But what a great gift to be able to give them. Even if you can't articulate it yourself, it's now here in a document they can absorb, they can go back and look at again. And I read that and I thought, man, that is a phenomenal byproduct. Because let's face it, writing a book isn't easy. It is not easy. And most folks, although they would absolutely love to do that, it's just not in their DNA. And that's where you all come in.
And I love the word that you use, gift, right? And we do. We think what a phenomenal gift to give that next generation. And quite frankly, to give to the family, because your family has sacrificed. I mean, you've given them a great life, right? But their family has sacrificed. And so let's give this gift to the family.
Yeah. How do people find you? And if they're interested in wanting to jump into this and be a part of the founding members?
The first cohort group of My Life's Work members are going to join together. The first meeting is going to be on January 16, 2020. And we've got dates for the next 3 years out. And our first 7 founding members are committed. The list is absolutely mind-blowing who's on there. We're going to have 5 more. Our first one is going to be a group of 12 because this is our first group. Eventually, the groups will grow to be about 30. That's my vision. But this first group is going to be 12 as we go through it. If you're in that group that you're going to be transitioning in the next 3 to 10 years and you'd love to find out who our first 7 are, and if you'd be interested, you can go to mylifesworkmastermind.com, mylifesworkmastermind.com. It's all defined there for you, and there's a spot where you can schedule a call with me to go through it, because I need to make sure that you're right for this group. The group is amazing. You need to make sure that it's right for you.
Yeah, we'll put that in the show notes as well, so people can you can link to that and check it out. Well, fantastic, my friend. Yeah, that was absolutely. I think that's going to be one of those programs where you'll look back and say, yeah, that was the right direction for me to go with this. I mean, it was absolutely the right direction. All right, man. Well, I hate to do this, but we have now hit our time. I know. Yeah, I looked at the time. I'm like, uh-oh. So
you get 2 consultants together, man. What, 30 minutes? Are you kidding me?
Yeah, exactly. All right, my friend. Well, hey, thank you so much for taking the time and speaking with us this round. And I look forward to hooking up again in the future.
Thank you, buddy. Hey, just one last thing. The work you do at Distribution Team, the way you help your clients move their business forward, I'm inspired by it. So thanks for having me, man. And till our paths cross again.
Thank you for listening. If you liked what you heard, consider hitting that subscribe button. Links to sponsors, products, and services mentioned during this episode can be found in the show description area on your podcast application or at www.distributiontalk.com. Distribution Talk is edited and mixed by Andrea Klunder and Edwin Ruiz at the Creative Imposter Studios. This episode was brought to you by my company, the Distribution Team. We are a consulting services firm dedicated to helping wholesale distribution clients remove barriers to profitability, generate wealth, and achieve personal goals. To learn more about how we can help your company succeed, check us out at www.thedistributionteam.com.